right, welcome in to another day of our daily Devos in the Psalms. Pastor Rick here, and we are wrapping up Psalm 92 today. And I got a new hat on, so yeah. All right, it's a big M. It stands for my last name. No, actually, it stands for high school in Oregon called Malala High School, and I was actually the voice of their I was in-game announcer for their football team one year, and it was super fun, and COVID kind of got in there and messed up some stuff, so didn't get to continue on doing it there before we moved. But anyways, it was fun. So again, what do you think of the hat? Let's give a 1 to 10 on the hat, just for fun. And also, if you could drop a comment of something that stuck out to you from Psalm 92, the first part, that would be great. And just like and subscribe. That would be fantastic if you're enjoying the content. And also maybe grab the link and share it with a friend. Just love to allow more people to find what we have going on here, and I appreciate you being a part regularly. It's awesome. So here we go. We're going into Psalm 92, and we're going to go verse 8 through 15. I couldn't remember. So here we go. Verse 8. But you, Lord, are exalted forever. For indeed, Lord, your enemies will perish. All evildoers will be scattered. Come on. All evildoers will be scattered. You have lifted up my horn like that of a wild ox. I have been anointed with the finest oil. My eyes look at my enemies. When evildoers rise against me, my ears hear them. The righteous thrive like a palm tree and grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of the Lord, they thrive in the courts of our God. And I just think that this is a real powerful truth expressed by the psalmist. We'll come back to here in just a second. They will bear fruit in old age, healthy and green, to declare the Lord is just. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. So I would say, these two verses right here are kind of obviously verse 14 is kind of connected to verse 13 there, but going back up to verse 8 for just a moment. But you, Lord, are exalted forever. And I just having that be part of our worship habits, our worship plan, is to exalt the Lord, to lift his name on high. And God, I think God obviously appreciates our praise and our exaltation of his name. But certainly he doesn't need it. So it's not like God is like desperately in need of us to lift his name on high. And interestingly, he is very interested in his glory being made evident to people, and for his glory to be revealed. And it's like some people have made cases that God must be really self-consumed because he's about his honor and his glory. But really, the truth of the matter is, when his honor and his glory are brought to the forefront, when they are made much of, everybody benefits, because God is, like it says down in the bottom there, that there's no unrighteousness in him, that he is so good, that everything about him is right and true and full of life. And so to see him honored and exalted, and then have other people see his honor and his glory, and then be drawn to him, and then get into relationship with him, and then follow him, then brings life and flourishing to them. And so us exalting the Lord forever is good, because obviously God inhabits the praises of his people. He's enthroned on the praises of Israel. So obviously it's great for us to be worshipers of God, but exalting his name is like almost more for you to preach to yourself who he is. to remind yourself who he is, to celebrate. So it's like in celebrating him and in reminding him, in a sense, like in telling him who he is and how great he is, you're actually reminding yourself. And God knows of that dynamic. He knows that every time we worship him, that our attention is drawn to him and that we are focusing on him. And he knows that us focusing on him and giving our attention to him and talking about him and worshiping him actually changes us. It actually makes us more like him. It actually makes us more peaceful, more joyful, more more loving, more patient, more kind. It's the fruits of the Spirit, begin to grow in us as we make ourselves more like God. So as we worship God, as we then become more like him in that sense. And so, so you, Lord, are exalted forever, and indeed your enemies will perish. All evildoers will be scattered. So there's, and then you lifted up my horn, my military strength, like that of a wild ox, and you anointed me with the finest oil. He's so good to us. Like, what do we deserve to be anointed with the finest of oil? Do we deserve to be strengthened by him? No, the answer is no, but he's just that good. So the righteous, then down in verse 12, the righteous thrive like a palm tree and grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of the Lord, they thrive in the courts of our God. And so this is just such a key reminder of how important planting yourself in the house of the Lord is, being amongst God's people. And in today's highly mobile church culture, it's like there's a lot of places and a lot of people, their perception of church is like, is it good? Is it fun? Is it convenient? Is it quote unquote meeting my needs? And there's some level of goodness to those evaluations to some extent. Like, it would be good if the church that we're a part of is a good fit. Sometimes our definition of what a good fit is not always accurate, but because, when they grow trees, trees that are the best are trees that are specifically planted in places where there are challenges, where there are like environmental factors that cause stressors on the tree, because then it causes the strength of the tree to increase as it grows, resisting those stressors. And so oftentimes we've kind of gotten to this place in church culture where if things get a little bit rough, and I am not talking about like straight up abuse and some crazy situations in churches where leaving would have been the best thing. So yeah, like, please understand, I'm not like some extremist, always stay, but there are more examples, of just challenging situations, whether it's an interpersonal conflict or, somebody said something they shouldn't have said, somebody did something they shouldn't have done, whatever. Where in today's culture, it's real common to just pick up and go. Like, just, you know what, I don't need this, I'm out, and going to the next place. And you can a lot of times, because a lot of times the next church is, 17 feet away. Like there's plenty of opportunity, plenty of options. But there's something to be said here about being planted in the house of the Lord. And you think about the dynamic, how often the planting picture is used. What happens when you uproot a plant? It actually affects the plant's ability to grow. It actually kind of weakens the root structure of the plant. And so, and John Bevere actually has a whole session that he did on this. And he talks about basically stunting your spiritual growth, because rather than pushing through and persevering through challenging scenarios, people get up and leave, and they actually stunt their ability to learn and grow through those pressures, because we all know, like, we're refined like gold in the fire 7 times. Like we're we're refined by pressure, by suffering, by pain. Like God uses those things to refine us to be more like him. And so trying to find the balance between just getting up and leaving, and actually persevering through the pain of a situation. We have to really trust God, follow his lead. And sometimes we have to question our initial gut reaction. Again, there's a lot of situations. I can almost hear comments coming in about some real terrible situations that have happened in church in even recent history. And so, to be clear, like we're taking the whole abuse thing out of the picture. Like, not talking about persevering through abuse or anything like that. So please don't take me wrongly there. But there's a lot of situations where people end up leaving when maybe they should have stayed. And it's so that they can bear fruit in old age, healthy and green, that there's this longevity, there's this consistency, there's this steadiness, the, long-term relationships that are built as a result. And, and also the love that grows when you persevere through challenging situations with other people. And we learn to forgive and we learn to grow through those situations. And then to declare, the Lord is just, he is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Truthfully, if we just stay with him, stay connected to him, and follow his lead, we can't really go wrong, right? Because even when we, even if maybe we stayed a year too long or whatever, God is still faithful to utilize every aspect of that journey to work good things in us, because there's no unrighteousness in him. There's no flaw in him. Like, he's faithful. He's so faithful. He is just. He's your rock. He will be your steadiness, your security, your strength. And there's no unrighteousness in him. So there's nothing that God is doing in your world that is out of whack. Like, God is always about your good and leading you to a place that will bring you health and strength and vitality in what he's called you to do. So let's be people that are exalting God, worshiping him, becoming more like him. And let's learn to be planted in the house of the Lord and thrive in the courts of our God, and recognize that we're so blessed to have a God with no unrighteousness in him. We can trust him. And so with that, I hope you are encouraged today. Be strengthened. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow.